Good morning, all. Welcome to BF Fiber Arts with Tamsin. I'm Tamsin, also known as Dr. Chaos. As I don't normally introduce myself, I'm trying to do that more. I'll likely forget often, but that's okay. So today, I'm going to explain what my challenge for this week is. I've been renovating my basement to turn it into an apartment. So I've been gradually moving all my fiber stuff upstairs. I'm a fiber hoarder. In case you didn't know that already, although I think it's pretty obvious if you watch any of my videos, I'm a fiber hoarder. So I had racks and bins full of bats and rovings and pieces and parts that I've processed and dyed and then just didn't do anything with them. So here's some. Now, before you think, well, that's not so bad, hold on. I have a lot. So, my goal is to turn all of this into chaos yarn. So I have here some cones of just some merino wool. It's kind of lightweight. So I'm going to use these as core yarns to use up some of that. Then I also have bits. So these are tail ends, ties, singles. It's just a collection of odds and sods. So I'm going to incorporate some of this into my chaos yarn. Basically, I'm going to make all of this into crazy yarn, and my goal is to get it done in a week. So today is Monday. Now, I do have a life to live, so I will have to do things like grocery shopping and, work on the basement and housework and meals and, that life stuff. But my goal is this week to focus on doing this when life is not interfering. So I've already got my first bobbin spun up. I started last night. So I'm going to chain ply that and get to making the next one. And I'll just film intermittently so you can see what I'm doing, and hopefully you'll enjoy watching this. And when it's done, we'll have to make something with our chaos yarn. So that'll be the next project. But first, I have to reduce this hoard. This is not a stash. This is a hoard. So I'm going to whittle that down. So before I start thinking that this is just too much for me to handle, because it's not, I can do this, I'm going to get started. I'm going to just put on some TV on my tablet and just get to work. So let's go. All right, so I just wanted to show you quick. Here is some singles I had that I'd previously spun. And what I'm doing is I'm sort of holding it against the core so it's fiber applying. And I am wrapping it with the other fiber. Now, it may seem like that's completely covered up, but when we ply it, it's going to loosen up a bit, and we're going to get more of that single showing through and just making for nice fuzzy bits with some interesting colors. This is the kind of thing I do with odds and sods of singles that I have kicking around when I'm making chaos yarn, because that makes it absolutely 100% completely chaotic. Now, you can also, hold on, I'm going to cut out this single. Just looking for a little bit. Okay, so here we just have a chunk of white. This was probably, I'm guessing from the tape on the end, it was probably one of my sample spins that I taped to my wheel to keep them matched up. But you can just clip this up into little bits. I don't know what fiber this was, but it's lovely. Make little bits out of it. Oh, I got my ring stuck in the scissors again. There we go. I do that all the time. You'd think I'd stop wearing rings. Nope, that would make too much sense. All right, so we'll just get this core that I've been using is very softly spun, so it just keeps drifting apart on me, but I just tie it back on and keep going because this is chaos yarn. It's supposed to have plenty of texture. All right, so see, keeps drifting apart. I'll have to spin the next one the other way so that it's not drifting apart. Come on, grab on. There we go. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to decrease my uptake a little bit there. We just take a little bits of this and we just add them in. Whoops. If it flies out, that's okay because it's not secured in yarn. Just add some to my hand and spin over them, and I'm making little tweety bits. So that when we apply it back on itself, that'll help secure it as well. And when you wash it, any loose bits will just fly out, and then you have a bit of tweety yarn. So again, more texture. I prefer to just use like the lay it on and let it spiral. It's a little less messy because tweety bits may look good, but they're a pain in the butt to spin, I'll tell you that. Probably if I cut them up even smaller and then just spun them into a normal yarn instead of core spinning it, it would probably work better. But you know, I do love to experiment. So now that I've got little bits of wool all over me and a complete disaster happening at my spinning chair, I'm gonna keep going. Because trust me, I haven't even made a dent in all this wool I have to spin. All right, I'll check in later. All right, so it has been more than a week, but this is all that's left of those 2 bags of fleece. These are some locks. They're a bit felted together, so I'm going to hold on to those and use them in other projects, but that's all that's left. So here we go. Here's the yarn. Now I went full chaos yarn with this. And I did change halfway through to using my e-spinner, which made it go much faster because I could just sit while I was watching TV, literally lazy, and just spin it up. See some more. 4. I guess I could do the like this so you can see them better. 6. Now, originally I'd started chain plying, but that wasn't enough chaos for me. 8. So here's a comparison of chain plying versus making 2 singles and then plying them together. You can see how you get a much better play of colors. That's 8. 10. 12. So I got 13 hanks. Now they're all varying sizes of hanks. Sometimes it would be just the tail end of a bobbin and I'd just chain ply it. Sometimes it'd be very full bobbins that I plied together, so they would make bigger skeins. And just overall, I'm very happy. So I've got this full bin of chaos yarn. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a crochet chaos blanket with it. Oh, here comes Bubble. Come say hi to the YouTube folks. He's a little wet because he was outside in the rain. Say hi, Bubble. Nobody does an angry face like this cat. His stink face is epic. So, for my chaos blanket, I have my Prim fancy hook. I'm trying to remember what size it is beyond large. It is an O hook. And I'm not sure how big an O is, but it's big. And I'm going to use that to just do a plain crochet chaos blanket. So I'm going to get started on that and I will update you as to the progress. And we're going to turn all these old bats and rovings that I've literally had. Like, this is some of the stuff that I did when I first started processing and dyeing my own wool. So I have probably had this stuff, I want to say like 8 years, could be going on to 10. So it'll be nice to use it up. And this is going to make such a fun chaos blanket. I'm going to get started and I will check in with you later when I have something to show you. See you in a bit. All right, I'm finally done. Here it is. My chaos blanket done with scraps and bats that I have had hanging around for years. I had this much left over. I could have tried to yarn chicken it and get that last row in, but this much left over, that's not bad at all. So here we go. Here is my chaos blanket. Now this is folded in half. It's actually twice that width, but just so you can see how it turned out. I just love it. It's totally chaotic and I absolutely adore it. You can see there's no rhyme or reason. There's barber pulling, there's pools of color, there's just complete chaos. I love it. Oh, it's so heavy and warm. Who needs weighted blankets when you can have a wool blanket that you spun and stitched yourself? Right? It's so nice and warm. Oh, I know it's summertime, but I'm so looking forward to throwing this on my bed for the winter and being nice and warm. And the best part is I got rid of that almost 2 bags of bats that I've had hanging around forever. I used them up and I made me something beautiful and practical. And ultimately, that's my goal when spinning. I still have to weave my end in. Oops, we'll hide that. So, I hope you enjoyed this little adventure we've been on. Thanks for joining me. And if you like this, do the stuff down below. Because I do stuff like this, as you can see, all the time. See you next time, guys. Dr. Chaos. Ow.